Yeah, good morning. I'm Dan Lichauco. I've been practicing for the last 45 years as an architect. Actually, when I was younger, I had a lot of fun with the toys, so it was more like the drafting tools and everything. What was interesting is I didn't really know I wanted to be an architect till after high school. But then from there, tuloy-tuloy na. So I did everything to study to make sure that I could, become an architect. The award winning, it's really nice to win awards, but we don't really take them seriously. I think the number one part of our job is to make sure that our clients are happy. We meet what they require, we meet their needs, and we make sure that we create, spaces that are nice, friendly, and that will last long. So the awards are nice if they come, but our number one priority is actually our client and client satisfaction. Well, most of the time, with the residential projects, it's really interesting to know what the different characteristics, nuances, habits of people. No? What we tell our clients is the house is their house, it's not our house, right? So we have to understand how they live, how they entertain, how they get dressed in the morning. And those are always fun because there's a lot of different things that people do in terms of how they live. So our job is to understand how they live, and then from there make sure the spaces match how they live. For our bigger projects, like our healthcare projects, it's always nice to see our buildings being used that actually help people. Everything on budget. Look, we want to make sure that our buildings are distinct. We don't like to do buildings and spaces that are, what everybody else has done or is really popular or uso. And most of the time, our spaces or our buildings will age really well. So we make sure beyond style, and then it's something that's distinct. And when the building has to be sikat, like our Taguig City Hall, then we make sure that it just become iconic, so that people understand that those buildings are supposed to be the more important buildings in the city. Yeah, well, architecture is a constant series of learning, and so when we finish particular projects, we do a post-occupancy evaluation. It's called a PO, and then we try to understand what we did wrong, what we did correct, not only in the design and the construction side, but even on the design side. So as an example, when we do hospitals, come back about a year later, and then we talk to the people using them, and we say, how did we get things, what would you like to change, so that when we do the next one, it gets better. So it's a constant process of learning, sometimes not forgetting, but sometimes you do forget. But at the end of the day, you really have to understand that architecture is very dynamic with the new technologies, with everything else. Examples, the elevators here. Then you begin to understand that with these new technologies, you can actually begin to change things. Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? I think I'm in the cusp generation wherein the architects before us, where like architect is starred and they can walk in and they can begin to change things. After working with Bobby Manyosa as his partner, we begin to understand that is no longer the paradigm. In fact, what happens is architects now have a higher level of liability. So what we'd like to make sure is that we are consistent, we follow all the rules, we follow all the codes, and we give the clients the best advice possible. Yes. Particularly the Homelift, well, first of all, understand the technology. The fact that it's a screw-type elevator system actually makes it one of the best elevators, the home elevators available. So it would be easy to maintain, similar to hydraulic versus electric elevators. Now that's number one. The second is we already are looking at, particularly with our expertise in healthcare, we are already looking at the fact that people will age, right? And so yes, you might have an elevator now, but we're doing a lot of houses before wherein the den becomes the master's bedroom as the owners age. Well, this one here, with the lifts and putting the lifts in a house, in people's forever houses, right, will understand that they can age in the same room. They don't have to move downstairs, because if you understand the benefits of this, it's not just the vertical transport, but the fact that the people who would want to stay in their spaces because they're totally comfortable, they lived in those spaces for years, don't have to move anymore as they get older. And so having a lift there that's accessible with wheelchair, and the bantay with a guy there, then it just makes it much more pleasant to age in the house that you worked hard to build in. So an investment in the home lift is actually something that's really key. Well, the lift itself, one, and our experience, and I think we had already, the first one we ordered is about 8-9 months old already, right? So one of the nice things about this company is so far, anytime anything happens, they're there they're there within the day, So the service is really good. So the second is the fact that the home lift allows you to go up and down. It's not just the person, but delivery of goods, as an example. So big baskets of laundry, your bed sheets and everything else for houses. It makes it easier for people to come up and down. Number three, it actually saves a lot of space, right? And so what happens is with that ability to become mobile, right, then communication of the family between floors is much faster. And remember, the difficulty now with people's houses is everybody has their screen, and the screen can go anywhere, and so people disappear. And sometimes you don't see your kids, right? So that allows people to communicate physically as well by not getting tamad na to just go down, because they can take the elevator to the next floor.